Dim the lights, settle in, and prepare yourself for stories that will haunt your dreams and send shivers down your spine. Here at Tombstone Tales, we delve into the darkest corners of the internet, unearthing chilling stories of the supernatural, the unexplained, and the downright terrifying. From shadowy figures lurking in the night to sinister secrets buried deep in forgotten history, each episode is crafted to immerse you in a world of fear and fascination. Hit that subscribe button, join our community of thrill seekers, and embark on a journey where every whisper could be a warning and every shadow a threat. Are you ready to face your fears? Then let the story time begin. The crackling campfire cast flickering shadows on the group of friends huddled close together in the middle of the dense forest. The night air was chilly, and the scent of pine mingled with the smoke from the fire. The stars twinkled above, and the moon hung low, casting an eerie glow on the surroundings. "All right, everyone, gather around," Jake called out, his voice a mix of excitement and mischief. "I've got a story that'll give you chills." The group consisted of 6 friends. Jake, the self-appointed storyteller. Sarah, the adventurous one. Tom, the skeptic. Lisa, the easily frightened. Mark, the jokester. And Emily, the quiet observer. They had all been friends since high school and had decided to go on a camping trip to relive old memories. "Are you sure this isn't one of your silly ghost stories, Jake?" Tom asked, raising an eyebrow. "This one's different," Jake replied with a grin. "It's a local legend about these very woods. They call it the Whispering Woods." The mention of the name sent a shiver down Emily's spine. She glanced around, feeling the weight of the darkness pressing in. The firelight seemed to push back the night, but only just. "Come on, Jake, spill it," Sarah urged, leaning in closer. "We're all ears." "All right, here goes," Jake began, his voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. "It's said that anyone who enters these woods at night can hear whispers. But these aren't just any whispers. They reveal secrets, deep, dark secrets." The friends exchanged uneasy glances as Jake continued, the flickering fire casting ominous shadows on his face. "Many years ago," Jake said, "a hermit lived in these woods. He was an old man, shunned by the nearby village because of his strange ways. They said he practiced dark magic, and the villagers feared him." "Dark magic? Really, Jake?" Tom interrupted with a skeptical snort. "Just listen," Jake replied, waving him off. "One night, the villagers decided they'd had enough. They formed a mob and came into the woods, intent on driving the old man out. But he was ready for them. As they approached his cabin, he started chanting. The air grew cold, and the wind howled through the trees, carrying his words like a whisper. Sarah shivered, pulling her jacket tighter around her. "What happened then?" "The villagers found the old man dead in his cabin the next morning," Jake said, lowering his voice even further. "But the whispers remained. People who ventured into the woods at night claimed they could hear him, whispering secrets he had learned about them. Secrets they had never told anyone." "That's ridiculous," Tom scoffed, though his eyes darted nervously around the dark forest. "Is it?" Jake asked with a grin. "Why don't we find out?" Sarah's eyes lit up with a mischievous glint. "I dare someone to go into the woods and bring back proof of these whispers." The group fell silent, the challenge hanging in the air. Mark laughed nervously. "You're kidding, right?" "Nope," Sarah replied, crossing her arms. "Who's brave enough?" Tom rolled his eyes. "This is all just a bunch of nonsense. But fine, I'll do it. Someone has to prove there's nothing out there." "Are you sure, Tom?" Emily asked quietly, her worry evident. "Yeah, I'll be fine," Tom said, trying to sound confident. He stood up, brushing off his jeans. "I'll be back in a bit. Don't go anywhere. Take this," Jake said, handing him a flashlight. "And if you hear anything, don't panic." Tom gave a mock salute and headed into the woods, the beam of the flashlight cutting through the darkness. The group watched as his figure disappeared among the trees, the sounds of the forest growing louder in his absence. "Think he'll be okay?" Lisa asked, her voice trembling slightly. "He'll be fine," Sarah said, though she didn't sound entirely convinced. The group huddled closer to the fire, the crackling flames providing little comfort as they waited. Tom walked deeper into the woods, the flashlight casting long shadows on the trees. The forest was eerily quiet, save for the occasional rustle of leaves or snap of a twig. He tried to ignore the uneasy feeling growing in his gut. "This is stupid," he muttered to himself. "There's nothing out here." But as he ventured further, the air seemed to change. It grew colder and the shadows darker. He stopped, straining to listen. At first, there was nothing but silence. Then, faintly, he heard it, a whisper. Tom's heart raced as he turned in the direction of the sound. "Hello? Is someone there?" The whispering grew louder, though he couldn't make out the words. It seemed to come from all around him, echoing through the trees. He shone the flashlight in every direction, but saw nothing. "Okay, this is getting creepy," he said, trying to keep his voice steady. The whispers became more distinct, almost as if they were forming words. Tom strained to hear, catching fragments. "Leave. Danger. Secret." He took a step back, his mind racing. "What secret? What are you talking about?" Suddenly, a figure emerged from the darkness. It was a tall, shadowy shape, its features obscured. Tom froze, the flashlight trembling in his hand. "Who are you?" he demanded, his voice shaking. The figure stepped closer, and Tom could see its eyes, dark and hollow, staring into his soul. "Leave these woods," the figure whispered, its voice chilling, "or face the consequences." Tom felt a cold sweat break out on his forehead. He wanted to run, but his legs felt like they were made of lead. The figure's presence was overwhelming, its voice a whisper that seemed to come from everywhere at once. "What do you mean?" Tom managed to ask, his voice barely more than a whisper itself. "What consequences?" The figure's eyes seemed to bore into him, and the whispers grew louder, almost deafening. "These woods hold many secrets," it said. "Secrets that should never be revealed." Tom's mind raced. But what kind of secrets? The figure moved even closer, and Tom could see its face more clearly now. Pale, almost skeletal, with eyes that seemed to see right through him. "Secrets of the past," it whispered. "Of those who have come before you." The hermit knew too much. He paid the price. "And so will you if you do not leave." Tom swallowed hard, his fear mounting. "I don't want any trouble. I'll leave. Just let me go back to my friends." The figure nodded slowly. "Go, but remember, the whispers will follow you. They always do." With that, the figure vanished, melting into the shadows as if it had never been there. The whispers faded, replaced by the normal sounds of the forest. Tom didn't wait to see if it would return. He turned and ran, his heart pounding, not stopping until he reached the campfire. Tom burst into the clearing, breathless and pale. The group looked up in surprise, their expressions quickly turning to concern. "Tom, what happened?" Emily asked, standing up. I saw something," Tom said, his voice trembling. "There's something out there. The figure. It spoke to me." "Come on, man, you're just messing with us," Mark said, though his laughter sounded forced. "No, he's not," Jake said, his face serious. "Look at him. He's terrified." Tom nodded, taking a deep breath. "It told me to leave the woods. It said there are secrets here, and if we don't leave, we'll face the consequences." "What kind of secrets?" Sarah asked, her earlier bravado gone. "I don't know," Tom admitted, "but it was real. And the whispers, they were real too." The group fell silent, the weight of Tom's words sinking in. The fire crackled, casting long shadows that seemed to dance and twist. "What do we do?" Lisa asked, her voice small. We leave, Jake said firmly. First thing in the morning. But for now, we stick together and stay by the fire. As the night wore on, strange things began to happen. The fire flickered and dimmed, though there was plenty of wood. The air grew colder, and an eerie silence fell over the forest. Then they heard it, the whispers, faint at first, barely audible over the crackling fire. But slowly, they grew louder, until it seemed as if the trees themselves were whispering. "Did you hear that?" Emily asked, her eyes wide with fear. "Yeah," Sarah replied, her voice shaking. "It's the whispers." The group huddled closer together, the fire offering little comfort. The whispers seemed to come from all around them, echoing through the darkness. "We need to get out of here," Mark said, his usual bravado gone. "Now," Jake nodded. "Grab your stuff. We're leaving." They quickly gathered their belongings, the whispers growing louder with each passing moment. As they started to make their way out of the clearing, the whispers turned into voices, clear and distinct. "Leave. Now. Danger." Panic set in, and they broke into a run, the flashlight beams dancing wildly through the trees. But no matter how fast they ran, the whispers followed, growing ever louder. The group stumbled through the woods, branches snagging their clothes and underbrush tripping their steps. The whispers grew to a cacophony, each one seeming to pull at their deepest fears and secrets. "We're going in circles," Lisa cried, her voice on the verge of hysteria. "No, we're not," Jake said, though he sounded uncertain. "Just keep moving." Suddenly, the figure appeared again, blocking their path. It was more solid now, its eyes darker, more menacing. "You were warned," it whispered, its voice cutting through the chaos. "We're leaving," Tom shouted, desperation in his voice. "Just let us go." The figure raised a hand, and the forest fell silent. "You must promise never to return. These woods are not for you." "We promise," Emily said quickly, her voice shaking. "We'll never come back." The figure stared at them for a long moment, then nodded. "Go. And remember, the whispers will always be with you." The group didn't need to be told twice. They turned and ran, not stopping until they burst out of the woods and onto the main road. Gasping for breath, they looked back, half expecting the figure to follow them. But the woods were still silent once more. Back at their campsite, they packed up quickly, not wanting to spend another moment near the whispering woods. As they drove away, the tension slowly began to lift, but the memory of the night lingered. "Do you think it's really over?" Lisa asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "I hope so," Jake replied, "but I don't think I'll ever forget those whispers. Neither would any of them." The whispering woods had left its mark, a dark secret they would carry with them for the rest of their lives.